What's up, guys? My name is Chalice with the Illuminerdi, and today I'm going to be counting down my top 10 most anticipated films of 2024. Now, before we jump into it, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. As always, it's much appreciated, and we have a lot to talk about, so let's just jump into it. Kicking off our list at number 10 is Gladiator 2. Now, it has been 24 years since the original, but I personally believe that for them to even touch such a classic, the script has to very much be worth it. It does have some big names attached to it, like Denzel Washington, Joseph Quinn, and Pedro Pascal. We don't really know much about it. I mean, there's not really a trailer or anything. All we know is that it follows Maximus's son, and that's pretty much it. So that's good enough. I mean, I think the big names attached to it, I think that's sufficient. I think this is gonna be a for sure blockbuster. I mean, it's directed by Ridley Scott, and you know, there's films that are like massive hits that typically come out for summer or come out at the end of the year. This one is set for November 11th, so somehow, some way, I get a good vibe about this one. Moving right along to number 9, we have Sony's Madam Web. Now, this is one of those that I think a lot of fans have been waiting for not a long time, but once the casting rumors hit social media, it was kind of like, all right, I think y'all may have gotten one with this one. We have Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, even Emma Roberts, and what I think is personally kind of an interesting choice, we have Adam Scott playing a young Ben Parker. I'm actually very curious where they're going with this. Now, I am aware that there have been some female-led comic book movies that don't really perform that well, and it kind of sucks because some of them are actually good. I personally don't think that Black Widow really counts just because their numbers, I don't feel, properly reflect the massive following or praise that it received, just because I want to say it was still around COVID time, so people were still kind of cautious about going back to the theaters. And with this one, I actually feel that they have something really good on their hands. There was a lot of excitement when the trailer dropped, so I have a good feeling about this one as well. It does land in theaters on February 14th, which is Valentine's Day, so there are some people that may just run out and go see it because it has a lot of girls in it, and you guys might want to take their chicks to go see a chick flick type of comic book, or not. That's not an accurate representation. At number 8, we have Kraven the Hunter. Now, forget most anticipated of the year. This is probably one of the most anticipated characters that we've been wanting to see on the screen for a while now. Why? I don't know. Ever since you started to drop these different villains from all over these other Spider-Man films, we kind of have been building up to a Sinister Six, and this is something that I'm very geeked about. Aaron Taylor Johnson is the perfect casting for this role. I mean, he looks the part, he has the acting chops, and I have been wanting to see him in a role where he didn't get robbed, you know? Like, I feel like we were kind of robbed of him whenever he was killed off in Avengers. And now we finally have something that he can actually, like, take on his own and, like, appear in different movies. And I'm actually, yeah, I'm bought in. Whenever the trailer dropped, though, there was some kind of people that weren't really feeling it. They either thought it was too violent or they thought the graphics weren't that great. I mean, come on, guys. Like, it's a trailer. It's meant to build excitement. It's not meant to be the exact replica of what the movie's supposed to be. Like, give them time to work on the visual effects. Like, anyways, nonetheless, this one lands at number 8 on my list because I think it's not just about the film itself, but it's actually us being able to hear the story and tie it into all the other Spider-Man villains. Aaron is not alone. He's also joined by Russell Crowe and Ariana DeBose, and this hits theaters August 30th. Number 7 on my list is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And I can be really honest, I don't have a long list of reasons why this is on my list, but I will tell you, number 1, any Planet of the Apes movie that you've ever seen has not, or that I've ever seen, has not failed me. Like, they've all been great. I love the James Franco ones, the Mark Wahlberg ones, like, they've all just been good. And the visual effects are they're just getting better as the newer films come out. So this is one of those that's added to the list because I just know it's going to be good. There aren't any, like, major names that jump out on the cast. So I think this is a good chance for them to actually build up the characters and maybe use this as a platform to churn out more of these films over the years. So, and it does kick off the summer blockbusters. You know, anything in May going to August, those are the ones that typically perform the best, you know, give or take. So this one does come out in theaters May 24th. Now we're getting into some of my personal favorites. Yes, the others on the list, they're there, right? I have to round out my top 10 somehow. But the ones that I'm, like, probably were excited about since I've heard them be announced, now we're getting into that. Number 6 on the list is Venom 3. I know people didn't really care for the previous Venom films, but it's like right when you want to give up on it, Tom Hardy just does an amazing job, right? Yeah, I sound goofy because I know that a lot of you guys didn't like this movie, but it still performs, right? And I think we're all really excited to see them finally tie in Tom Holland's Spider-Man, right? With Tom Hardy's Venom. And I know the age gap there doesn't really work, but regardless, this is something that we've been wanting to see on screen. I find myself defending this film very often, or this franchise very often, but people churn out for it. I just, yeah, I'm excited. Venom 3 hits theaters November 18th. Shout out Houston, shout out Drake. Well, that sucks. Halfway during this video, I just realized that I was not showing off my super cool shirt that I'm excited to wear for the first time. Yeah, anyways, coming in at number 5 is Ballerina, which is the spin-off from the John Wick series and sees Ana de Armas in the lead role with Keanu Reeves returning as well. Now, the last John Wick movie did really good, and I don't think people were really ready for it to end. We did get a prequel, The Continental, which was a show that they had, and, yeah, so anyways, Ana de Armas is going to be really good in this role because I think we all really enjoyed her in 007, and although she didn't have that big of a role, she was able to show us her acting chops and her kick-ass, or showing her kick-ass. And I think that that was enough for us to be like, all right, she could be like this femme fatale, like assassin type person. And I actually really do like that they're bringing back Keanu Reeves because sometimes these franchises think that someone can set them up and they remove the main character and we're all still going to go. But I like that maybe he's going to use this as a way to segue it all to her and then maybe leave the franchise. But nonetheless, I'm definitely really geeked about it. I keep saying I'm really geeked about these movies. I am geeked about these movies. Anyways, all we know about the plot so far is that it follows a female assassin that goes out to seek revenge for her family's murders. Nothing really unique there. But then again, do we really go to the John Wick movies and the Mission Impossible movies for the plot? I don't think so. I think we come out in theaters in droves and put up these box office numbers because we like to see just the action, the fight sequences, just the visual effects. We love seeing all of that. Ballerina dances into theaters June 7th. Swinging in at number 4 is Beyond the Spider-Verse, and yes, finally we have a cartoon that's on this list, right? An actual cartoon. Okay, so why am I excited to see this movie? Why are we excited to see this movie? Well, I don't know. They kind of left us on a cliffhanger in Across the Spider-Verse, and I like that we didn't have to wait 4 or 5 years to get a sequel. I don't know. There's something special about Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, Beyond the Spider-Verse. Like they're just really great films. Fun fact, Into the Spider-Verse is actually in my top 10 movies of all time. So when they came out with the sequel, I was like, okay, how much better than that can it get? And it got pretty close. So I just know that they're really going to pull out all the stops for the third one. The cast is amazing as well. We have Shameik Moore, Haley Steinfeld, Jake Johnson, Oscar Isaac. Just the list goes on. The voice acting on this is also immaculate. Not to mention, like what I said before, the score and the screenplay and whatnot. And I think all of it collectively just works so well together. And I don't think we've had an animation that's been this good in a while. Beyond the Spider-Verse is actually the only film on my list that does not have a tentative release date, but we do know that it comes out this year, 2024. Now we're getting into the top 3 films on my list. Okay, I'm going to butcher this, but it is Joker, Folie à Deux. I might be saying that wrong. But nonetheless, the Joker sequel, which stars, again, Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga. Let's talk about, for a moment, Joaquin Phoenix literally came in and defied everyone's expectations, right? Everyone's like, no one can do the Joker better than Heath Ledger, R.I.P. And Heath won an Oscar for his portrayal, right? Cool, great, awesome. He deserved it, very well deserved. And then Joaquin comes and does his own spin on the character, does amazing, and he too wins an Oscar. So is that the trick to winning an Oscar, is portraying the Joker in an immaculate way? Quite possible. We still don't have a trailer for the film just yet, but we have gotten some photos from the set, and a lot of people just went gaga on social media, just seeing the two actors in their makeup and their costumes. Lady Gaga is Harley Quinn, and I think this is going to be a very different take than what we're used to. So I'm personally excited for it. I know this has to be on everyone's top 10 list. Like, there's no way the Joker sequel is not up there for everyone. Can't wait to see this one when it hits theaters October 4th. We are down to the bottom 2, and if you know me personally, then you know how much of a struggle it was for me to rank these 2, but nonetheless, here we go. Coming in at number 2 is Dune Part 2. I think everyone can agree that the first one, and this is very unbiased, the first one was very slow and very lackluster and stacked cast, don't get me wrong, but it was just like, it was just so slow, right? Like, it was just so slow. Another funny part about the first one is that on the press tour, it was Timothy and Zendaya everywhere, just Timothy and Zendaya. And then in the movie, it was like, we got just like a same 25-second like flash of Zendaya. So it was kind of like, all right, like what was that about? But I respect it. I respect it because they properly set up what we're going to see in the second one. Again, no shade. I'm really geeked. Look at how high this movie is on my list. So I'm geeked for it. I just know that when you're watching the first one, especially when you know about the books, you have to understand that it's setting something up. It's not just a movie in its own, but it properly leads us into this one. Speaking of stacked cast, this time around we have Josh Brolin, Javier Bardem, Austin Butler, Florence Pugh, and back again is Zendaya and Timothy. Christopher Walken is even joining the cast. I think that alone warrants us just throwing our money, man. Just go see this movie in theaters. Do not wait for this to come out in whatever form they want to put it on. Just make sure that this is something that you actually take your time to go see, because I don't think the streaming services are going to do justice for this one. This is also one of the first movies on the list that we're going to be seeing this year. The first one was Madam Web in February, and Dune 2, or Dune Part 2, hits theaters March 1st. Coming in at number 1 on my list, and that's why this shirt is so fitting, it is, boom, I know you see the... It's Deadpool 3. I am so excited for this movie because we have been waiting for this since X-Men Origins, Wolverine, and we were getting Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. The most exciting part about this movie actually coming to fruition, for me, I don't know how many people have been on Twitter or were on Twitter when this happened, but if you remember correctly, the way this whole Ryan Reynolds Deadpool thing happened, it was literally a fan casting. It's actually probably one of the first fan castings that I've actually seen come true from social media. All on Twitter, there are people petitioning for Ryan Reynolds to bring his Wade Wilson character, Deadpool, into like an actual movie, and then Ryan responded by making some kind of like featurette. It was a joke. And it was fantastic. And then all of a sudden, boom, he's Deadpool. So it's like he started with as a side character with Wolverine. Now, duh, he's become his own big thing. We'd love to see them just be together on screen. And a lot of people lost hope whenever Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was killed off in Logan. Sorry for the spoiler if you haven't already seen it. And I think that this was something that a lot of people wanted and weren't expecting to happen so soon. And I'm glad that we were able to see it in our lifetime. I was so excited to get to that one. Okay, Deadpool 3 hits theaters July 26th, rounding off the top 10 list. If you have anything else that you think should have made it, just let me know in the comments below. And I hope to see you guys in the next video.